Everybody needs advice, regardless of how far you are in business. There's somebody that you can take advice from. I'm gonna be playing an audio clip here where somebody reached out to me and actually asked me for help. And I thought, if there's somebody else out there that is going through something similar, my answer to them might help get them, or might be the thing that helps get them from step 1 to step 2, or from step 2 to step 3, etc. So, by the way, my name is Ashton. I'm the founder of Active Solutions AI, where we double your booking rates with CRM solutions, and we manage a book of business of about 150 clients now around the world. So, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go ahead and start by playing this audio.
I just wanted to see if I could pick your brain, if you don't mind. I've just been sat here thinking, like, who can I ask for advice from? I just don't know anyone other than yourself that I kind of want to get advice on. If you're around, just let me know. I'll send you another voice note now, because I know that you're super busy, mate. I appreciate that. Okay, so here it is. Our business, obviously I'd love to jump on a call and just ask you this for like 5-10 minutes, but the summary is we now work with creators, and it's going really well. I'm earning more than we've earned before. Nothing crazy, but like we hit the £10,000 month, and we're really happy, but everything is white gloved. Like, everything's custom to each client. Some use Kajabi, some use HighLevel, some use WAP, some use Skool. Everything is so slow to deliver. We can get some relatively quick wins and results for clients, but like a lot of them are low ticket. We've started working on high ticket info guys, and that's literally, we're like, wow, we earn a lot more here, which is great, but it's really hard to reach out to them. All the outreach kind of got to be personalized, which obviously takes forever, and it's hard to scrape and like cold email. They definitely don't opt into paid ads unless you're spending like 500 to 1,000 a day, which obviously we don't have the budget for. So basically, do we start running like the more of an SMMA model with the new things that we've learned with like Zapier, chatbots, voice bots? We built one out for a client and got 13k over the last like 18 months off of them. We get to SaaS, go high level. Like, I don't know. Basically, I think Hormoz's advice would be you need a business that's scalable, that you can get out of the delivery of and become more of a founder or a CEO. Whereas we're like really in the weeds with these info guys. So I just wondered like what you think. Like, do I dabble in a bit of both, or do I just go all in on one with like a particular ICP, like hair transplant, brick and mortar businesses or something like that? Or how are you finding it, mate? I hope this message makes sense.
Okay, so this is gonna be a really good example. A couple of things here. We went back and forth a little bit. I got some additional context, so I'll just lay that out for you so I don't have to play another audio clip. So he's basically in a place right now where they're doing a lot of different things for a lot of different people, a lot of different avatars, right? They have these low ticket products, they have higher ticket products, they have higher tier clients, they have lower tier clients. They're doing a bunch of different work for a bunch of different people. But one of the things that they stumbled upon and realized, they started doing a revenue share model with one of their clients. The clients, they got significant results, and because it was a rev share model, they got paid out significantly more. So like $6,000 per month just from one client alone, because they helped them see so much success. So now he's saying he knows he needs to productize in order to scale, or at least he thinks he does. He thinks he needs to productize. So he's thinking, should I niche down? Should I do this? Should we start just working with this type of people? Should we keep doing our low ticket stuff, or should we continue doing both? Or should we also do the revenue share model? Like, what do we do? That's the position that he's in. So one of the things, he said they just surpassed the $10,000 a month range. So one thing to keep in mind is that you're still not at a place to make the decision of, okay, do we need to niche down? What decisions do we need to make? He just figured out something that worked. Before this, there was so much trial and error going into, okay, we're testing this, we're trying that, which I will say, I've known this guy for a long time and he's done a really good job at that, where everything, he just fails forward. Like, he tries this, he tries that, what works, what doesn't. And that's what's kind of gotten him the success that he's gotten so far, hitting his first $10,000 a month, which is great. So what he needs to realize is that he finally has done enough trial and error where he found one thing that worked. The single client that he did a setup fee and a rev share model with that is now paying him $6,000 a month because of the success that he helped him see there. So would I niche down? Absolutely not. What I would do is, you can call it niching down, is niche down to the type of service that he is providing. So if the one thing that finally got him to see any sort of success and more money from just one client alone, it was the rev share model. So having a setup fee to a rev share, the first thing that I would do is I would see, what did it take for me to get that client? If he were to retrace all of his steps, he would be able to find out exactly how many messages he had to send, what types of conversations that he had to have, how many accounts he sent those messages from, etc., to attain that one client, so that he can put together, time spent or cost per acquisition, whether the cost is money or time, it doesn't matter. But how many messages did I need to send to get this many appointments that finally got me the chance to acquire a client that's now paying me $6,000 a month? He needs to reorganize his business model where now he's not just dipping his toes with low ticket clients and doing this, and that. He finally is seeing success with revenue share. Do that. Don't worry about niching down and finding, okay, should we niche down and just work with med clinics, med spas, cause or whatever. No, whatever that client was, he was a high ticket service provider. So now what you are, if you want to think of this as a niche, because a lot of people's brains want to work that way, you are a person who gets results via revenue share model and setup fee for high ticket service providers. That is the only thing that you need to do. That's what worked for you. So let's replicate that process. So reverse engineer, see how you got that client, continue doing it, and try to get more of those clients. Would I stop doing all of the little stuff around? No. He's doing $10,000 a month. I wouldn't call that like, somebody who has a large team yet. So the first thing I would say, be selective with the type of little projects that you do. If someone's going to be paying you $100 to $200 a month to do this type of thing, not worth it. However, if you can make an additional $500 to $1,000 a month by doing some CRM setups on the side or doing some type of SMA model, for sure. Liquidate your advertising costs or whatever you need to do in order to continue to amplify yourself up to that $30,000 a month range. Once you hit that $30,000 a month range, it's time to really start finding who your avatar is and stop saying yes to everybody that is outside that. Because then typically, if you've done it right, you have enough profit margins where you can start taking your money and putting it in places where it becomes easier to get a client that you generally want, right? So anyway, that section of what would I do with the business model, would I niche down, that should answer that question. The next thing that he's afraid of is if he has shiny object syndrome. This was one of the things that he said in the audio clip shortly after this. He goes, I don't want to keep, dipping my toes in these different, I don't know if it's shiny object syndrome. Do we go all in on this? Like, what's the problem? I know a lot of people have the fear of having shiny object syndrome because they think once they make the decision, which is true, and it's fair because the grass is never greener on the other side. But there is an extent to that. So in my business personally, I started as a gym marketing agency. So we had an agency called Gym Closers. We got that to a certain point. And then I created a conversational AI. We started offering that to gym owners. And we had this beautiful opportunity that at the time seemed like shiny object syndrome. And it made it really, really difficult for me to even make the decision to step out of that because I really liked the business that we were in, Gym Closers. But we had this huge opportunity where the product market fit was just too strong. And what we did was we made the decision to pivot from just a gym marketing agency to a conversational AI service provider for any business niche. And that decision was one of the best decisions we ever made. We scaled specifically because of that, because we got to jump into a market that was so hot that everybody needed, and we got the ability to get in early and make it better than anybody else could on the market. So that was shiny object syndrome. And even I was afraid of making that decision, but I wouldn't be where I am today if I didn't. So put some thought into it. Don't just jump around from business model to business model because it's not going to work, but don't be too afraid of shiny object syndrome because it might be the thing that stops you from making the decision that you need to make to get you to the next level. Another thing, the last concept that he was really worried about was productizing. I don't want to be everything for everyone because I can't productize it. Another huge fear in business, right? And I will say, take this with a grain of salt. It is hard to be everything for everyone, especially in the beginning. You don't want to say yes. Well, in the beginning, you kind of have to say yes to everything and everyone. Make your first dollar however you need to. But then you do need to productize it and you need to build something that's scalable. However, I truly believe that there is a solution to every problem in business. Now, you can pick and choose your hard when it comes to the problems, but you're always going to have to solve something. For example, if you want to sell high ticket, you got to be really fucking good at sales. You can't just wing your way through collecting $10,000 from somebody. However, if you have a low ticket, you're going to have to get really good at building out your back end team and making that profitable. Those are two different types of hards. Either problem is solvable. You just have to pick which route you want to go. So in his case, he's afraid that if he's everything for everyone, he's not going to be able to productize it. I disagree. So what he's doing is he has an avatar. Now that we've decided this anyway, he has an avatar, which is a high ticket service provider, and he's helping them scale or grow, right? He might be doing everything from building landing pages. This is what he means by productizing. He's building landing pages. He's helping them run their ads. He's helping them do IG outreach. He's doing all of these things, right? However, you can productize that. That is just a problem that needs to be solved. But how do you productize it? We're doing a lot of shit, yes, but how can we make it easier? Can you template all of your landing page funnels once you find one that converts? You could probably use the same outline, colors, the way that you have different testimonials in a certain place. Once you find one that has a conversion rate that's above 20%, you can probably replicate that same template for every single service provider. That makes it easy. Create a GPT for any types of VSL scripts that you're going to make. You can create different types of outreach for the types of language that you use that you're going to be using in their templates that whenever you do outreach for them on Instagram. These are all things, if you just find a way, instead of being afraid of productizing and resulting to niching down, first look at the problem at hand and see if there's a solution to that specific problem. And that's the first step that everybody is afraid everybody tries to avoid right from the beginning. People told us, we're right now we do CRM builds, active solutions. We do full custom CRM builds for multiple different businesses. Everybody told us to charge higher prices. Everybody told us that we have to niche down because there's no way that we can productize this type of service. And guess what we did? We productized the fuck out of it. We have SOPs for literally everything that you can possibly think of. The way that our account managers breathe is SOP'd. And because of that, we can onboard any client in a period of 2 weeks, regardless of the industry that they're in. We can have everything set up. Now, and we can still do it with a small amount of payroll, so our profit per head on the back end is large enough for us to keep spending and growing the business. And we only were capable of doing that because we looked at the problem and we saw, this is going to be hard. What's the only other option is to niche down and then make our cost per acquisition higher. However, I like spending a couple $100s to acquire a client whenever you can work in any different industry. So I was like, I wonder if we can keep that and just fix everything on the back end to make it easier for our team so we're not doing a bunch of different shit for people. And did it take time? Absolutely. And we made people unhappy and clients were unhappy, but eventually we got to the point where we productized everything. And it seemed unproductizable at the time, but now all of our clients are very happy. They get set up quickly, and it doesn't matter what industry that they're in. So find the problem at hand and see which problem makes sense to solve. Don't worry about not being able to be everything for everybody. Don't worry about whether or not now is the right time to niche. First, just look at the problems, and those might be the answers to your problems, but see if those problems are solvable with what you're trying to build. That is the advice I gave to him, and I thought that it could be helpful to anybody watching this video that might be in a similar place. So appreciate you for watching this video. If you look in the description below, you'll see a lot of links to either schedule a call, book a call with our team, where we can build you a custom CRM, help you with some advertising strategies, etc., help you scale your business. And we also have a 100% free Skool community with over 2,000 members in it now, where we have a bunch of free courses, free calls, free advice that we give to anybody trying to grow their business. Thank you for watching. We'll catch you in the next one.